irritation.
No, this is my good.
Brush your hair.
All right, maybe. I said I wasn't going to move the mic, but what's wrong?
Did you beard?
I know I didn't do anything with my beard. Doesn't my beard look good?
Mm-hmm. It looks good, but usually you pimp yourself a little bit.
I don't need to pimp myself, love.
Okay.
This is me. This is what you get with me. What'd you say about my hat?
I thought maybe you should put it on a less smelly one.
I think it smells of essence of
So does Skoda.
of man. All right, let's start this thing off. Salute. Yeah. Happy Thursday. Got confused. Mm-hmm. My days of the week, I do get confused every now and then. Salute, love.
Cheers.
All right, I'm excited. Mm-hmm. I'm excited because this is something that I tried to do, actually, maybe the last 2 New Year's. That was going to be my resolution that the Pitboss podcast was going to be something that I did regularly, and there was some consistency, and I was never able to pull it off.
What changed?
You? Yeah. Come on, no, it's you.
Okay.
Well, first off, I've been wanting to do this. But secondly, I think I'm getting ahead of myself already.
Yeah.
This is the revamped Pitboss podcast. What do you call it?
Oh, gosh. I would call it the new...
You were saying the relaunched.
Well, yeah, relaunched. We had done this, 10 years ago we tried it.
That with the Blog Talk Radio back in the day. I was looking at that the other day. I really wish that I would have saved some of those because I had some really good interviews. At least there's some people on there that are not with us today that I'd really like to have that back, and I don't. But anyway, I'm calling it the Revamped Pitboss Podcast. This is going to happen every Monday. It's going to be released. YouTube and any other place that you can get a podcast. Even got us on Amazon.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of neat. So to run, I do have a few notes. I don't know where I want to start because I'm a little scattered. I think I just want to go down a tangent. Well, how about this? I want to go down a road that I'm going to go off on a tangent some which way because I got a lot of things I want to talk about. But first and foremost, I need to acknowledge
and thank
our official title sponsor, Molly's Place Sporting Goods, easily found on Route 213, Kennedyville, Maryland. When I do the radio commercial, I don't stutter like that. Let me try it. Again, easily found on Route 213 in Kennedyville, Maryland. That's better, right?
Yes.
Or online at mymollys.com, mymollys.com. Yes, I just got done doing some... Have you been thinking about Dad? Well, fuel your adventure at Molly's with these Father's Day sale savings. Well, check it out. Take 20% off all men's clothing and footwear from brands like Huck, Grundens, Under Armour, Hey Dude, Extra Tough, Sanuk, Olukai, and more. Does Dad need a new grill? Well, take advantage of this savings. All Traeger grills are 20% off. That's right, take 20% off. You know Dad deserves it. So make Father's Day special and get to Molly's today. Easily found on Route 213 or online at mymollys.com, mymollys.com. And again, come on, your dad deserves it. You know Father's Day will be here before you know it, so take advantage of Molly's Father's Day sale. So fuel your adventure at Molly's in Kennedyville, Maryland. Radio commercials for Molly's. They do WXCY in Havre de Grace, Maryland. I should know the Dover, Delaware station, and I don't, but I know we're on Dover, and as well as iHeartRadio. So, love. Reel me back in. I want to thank our title sponsor, Molly's Place Sporting Goods. We're just going to refer to them as Molly's. I've had a really great relationship with Molly's over the years. Chicky, Nick, Sajawani, just everybody. We appreciate Molly's. And
good people.
At the very least, anyone that is listening, please remember the name Molly's. Happens to be my daughter's name, but Molly's, Mollys. Molly's Place Sporting Goods. Again, easily found on Route 213 in Kennedyville on Maryland's famed Eastern Shore. They do ship everywhere, too, so... but no, I'm getting off on my little radio tangent that I do for them. But Father's Day is coming up.
obviously, we just did a Father's Day commercial as well as their archery weekends. And on this Sunday, we're going to run up and try to record the first fishing seminar, snakeheads, right?
I hope that I can focus on helping video the event and not listen to the speaker, because it does interest me.
Look, we have not, here, I'm going to go off. We have not fished in forever. You know the last time we fished?
I hate to think.
October 2021.
No.
PEI, Canada. That was the last fish we caught.
The tuna.
The giant bluefin tuna.
That's
Seriously,
crazy.
think about it.
Yeah, you're right.
It is. Sponsor. I don't want to rank them, because not to be fair. I was thinking about going down. Should I go alphabetically?
We can do that and then mix it up.
Yeah, mix it up afterwards. Very good friends at Crabs to Go, right on Route 50 and Routes 589, a local favorite of ours.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Unfortunately, because of COVID, they don't ship. But they shipped. I used to ship oyster to my father.
You did?
Yeah, the Mojo oyster. But yeah, Mark, John, Dan at Crabs to Go, guys, thank you very much. It's our favorite place to go. And we've been trying to eat better. And you've done a much better job, love, at losing weight than I have. You were down, 73 pounds at your peak?
At my peak?
Yeah.
Yep.
I was down 52.
A little challenging in the routine change.
It is.
Yep.
But we miss our breakfast of champions.
Oh my gosh. My mouth is watering just thinking about it.
On Sunday mornings, John would have to heat the fryer up for us, because we'd be there right as they open at 9 a.m. to get our pint of single fried oyster.
With their tartar sauce and their marinara.
All homemade. Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Awesomeness and awesomeness. All right, so alphabetically, just like my math,
I was worried about.
But I'm going to go with Dirty Duck Coffee next.
Yeah, there you go. That's some good wake up.
Yeah, Buck and Jay at Dirty Duck, guys, thank you very much. We appreciate that. We love Dirty Duck Coffee.
We do.
We drank some this morning right here.
Yep, every morning, actually.
Yeah.
But with espresso is probably
okay.
favorite.
Yeah. Oh,
Really enjoying that.
yeah.
I like the snickerdoodle.
Snickerdoodle, you do like. I gotta say, I kind of like that too.
It was really good.
Doesn't really remind me of Christmas necessarily, but it's the cinnamon teal. Cinnamon teal is the snickerdoodle. I thought you were going to say something.
Nope.
Okay, good, because I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but something's happening there.
Yeah.
I don't want to jinx this, but it's
kind of excited
like
about it.
at least 90% going to happen, right?
That's from what I understand.
I've seen some mock-ups of things, but I have not physically held anything in my hand, or tasted it. I'll put this out there. The little teaser is we have tasted and try to come up with a blend, a grind that we like best, right? So anyway, I'll leave that. I'm going to end that. So next up, I'm going to have to go. It's two ducks. Duck by. Bleh. Should I edit that out?
Probably.
Oh my goodness. Duck Blind Bistro. Duck Blind Bistro. John, Paul, and Jay down in Alabama have a unique. I can't say it's awesome, because truly we haven't tried it yet, because duck season's not here. I'm not into world's largest duck boat. Steve Hoover, thinking of you, we are. Not in the world's largest duck boat, or we don't have the fire pit set up. Yeah. But basically it is a duck blind oven. And that is it's a very unique product, and something that I think definitely I'm going to use for my sea duck season. Try to use it daily with all that we do in the boat. And just want to thank John and Jay. Guys, thank you very much. John, Paul, and Jay, excuse me. And lastly, but not least, Steve Hoover, just because of the way the alphabet works, it's duck water boats. So in the world's largest duck boat, Steve Hoover, thinking of you, we always like to say that. And I've known Steve since, I'd have to say 2000, 2001, 2002. So, Steve, thank you very much. We will attempt to do our best to get all these fellas. Really, there's no ladies in there, so I can't say any ladies. Sarah, we can get Sarah on. But yes, I really want to get everybody involved. And my podcast, the thing I struggled the worst with, or the most with, struggled the worst or the most? How do I say that?
What's the end of that sentence?
Yeah, I don't. Well, what I struggled with, the greatest, is getting a guest, and I did that with Blog Talk Radio. I pretty much always had a guest, but the the podcast. And I guess because I started them in January where duck season's in full swing, I guess it just was easy not to really get into a good habit and or a good structure of doing a weekly podcast. Damien and David, the Punisher Waterfowl podcast, we kind of came up with it was actually during most of last summer. We tried doing recording of the P&P podcast, so the Punisher Pitboss Punisher podcast, and we kind of cycled through. Like we kind of told our stories and we talked, and then we just kind of let it that kind of died out too. So I guess the moral in all this is we need to be. There's no moral. The key is, how about that? The key in all this is that make sure that we have entertaining guests and to do this regularly, which I said these will be released every Monday. So
yeah, if anyone has any suggestions or has anything that might be worthwhile contributing, that might be of interest to our listeners, let us know. Love to hear from you.
Sorry about that. I had to take a little sip. 100%. I agree with that. I have so much on my list.
You do.
But I don't know. So first, I'll try to do this in somewhat of an order. Where are we at? And why are we sitting outside?
We are sitting outside at PBHQ.
We're sitting outside because we love outside.
We do love outside.
Yeah. What's the real reason?
Well, what's PBHQ? Some people may not know what that is.
Well, it's got me in trouble.
Okay.
Got me in trouble with the county.
Okay.
I still may be in trouble with the county. I don't know.
All right. Well.
But I was saying this is Pitboss World Headquarters, PBHQ.
Yeah, it was just a tagline, hashtag.
It's just me being me.
Yeah, Jeff being Jeff.
Yeah. Chris Wilhelm, Pole Building Outfitters, the first time he was at the county, the zoning girl said, so this, and we hadn't even applied for the permit yet. This whole Pitboss World Headquarters, there are going to be like 20 vehicles there every day. And Chris just laughed it off, and he's like, it's Jeff's house. It's where he and his wife Karen are going to live. So that's Jeff being Jeff. That's what he does.
Yeah, bigger than life.
So yes, speaking of big, like occasionally when I drive up Peerless Road, and I do get a little bit embarrassed that it's sizable.
It is.
8,200 square feet, lots of storage in it. Lots of shop space in it.
Yep. Have a nice big house for the boat to live in.
100%. That's how this really all started with the home for the world's largest duck boat. Well, actually, really, even before that boat, since you've known me, since we've been together for coming up on 10 years, 2013, I've always wanted a place. I think I've told you that it would be cool to have a place to keep the duck boat, whatever duck boat I had at the time, to keep it indoors. Right?
Yes. Yep.
And that's really what this is going to be and is. I'm all over the place. It's a pole barn. Post frame. I'm really struggling today. All right, I'll slow down. That's my biggest problem is I try to do things too quickly. So I will try to attempt to slow down. It's pole barn construction. It's post frame construction or a pole barn or barn dominium. Please help me out, love. Please. What construction is it? Oh, what I just said?
I just call it a pole barn.
It's a pole barn, yeah. Barn dominium.
Barn dominium.
Yeah, they're not very popular here on the East Coast, and we did run into some issues with that.
Yeah, the county, inspectors, yada yada, not sure what they're dealing with, especially in a residential sense. But yeah, here we are. Well,
and the sad part is PBHQ sits on 3.5 acres in Worcester County, Maryland. And it's zoned A1. If we had 5 acres, we could have just built a barn. There was nothing on the property. The old house was burnt down, tore down. So it was empty when we purchased the land. And if it was, and it is zoned agricultural, and if it was more than 5 acres, we could have just put a barn up and it wouldn't matter. So that's really kind of the in between is the county's requirements and or our requirements, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm. So back to the beginning.
Why
are we outside?
Because the inside's not finished. The inside is not finished.
That's what I was supposed to say.
That's what you're supposed to say, because the inside is not finished.
It's not finished, but it's a little echoey too.
It is. It's very echoey.
Got 10-foot ceilings. It kind of bounces.
Yeah. So out in the shop is 18-foot ceilings. Living space has 10-foot ceilings, and most of the storage areas are 9-foot ceilings. So it is, and there's nothing in it. So it's kind of well, can't say there's nothing in it, but it's still very echoey.
Yeah.
So yes, PBHQ, but it is a Thursday at what time is it? Early mid-afternoon. I'll call it mid-afternoon. Why aren't you at work?
I have decided to work with my husband. How about that?
Awesomeness. I love it. I do. Yeah, you've made a big change in your life that's going to be better for us, and it's going to, just like PBHQ is our future, you and I are our future, and we're going to step ahead and proceed in that way, just to try to. I don't know that I'm going to add anything to you, but you will add a lot to me and make me more productive.
Yeah, make us more efficient. Just putting our energies in the same direction.
Yeah,
my job was pretty demanding, lots of hours. Not just going into work, but even after work. Consumed my mind. So now I can consume my mind with things that are more important to me.
100%. Whaleyville what?
Whaleyville Wagon Tails.
Is Whaleyville Wagon Tails an official sponsor of the Pitboss podcast? Brought to you by Molly's?
Yes.
Yes?
It's a special deal with you.
Yeah, special deal.
Yeah.
I don't know how. Well, we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, okay.
We are setting the stage for the next 52 weeks. Again, each Monday starting today. Well, not today, but today when you're listening to this. Thank you for tuning in. June 5th. 52 weeks. We can throw an extra one in there. We will. We got a lot. We got a lot still to do here at PBHQ. I've got a lot of decoys to carve. I got, it's June 5th. I've got July 1st Please, I've told you July 1st, you really got to kick my butt.
It's on the calendar.
100, thank you. I've got a lot of decoys to carve. People want decoys as well as I need, my decoys for my gunning. So we've got a lot of decoys to make. That'll get us through the summer. Somewhere at our feet here, there are 3 dogs. I don't know where the littlest one is, but why don't you introduce everyone if everybody has not, anybody that follows along with social media and with me has seen what you're gonna say, but it's those that do not follow along with us at Pitboss Waterfowl on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. What else, love?
I don't do Snapchat, but
no, I do. I do Snapchat a little bit, and YouTube. But anyway, please, I will. Believe me, I'm going to stop talking. Go ahead.
Order of acquirement. How about that? Just to be fair.
Do it.
All right. Well, with us on this day, we have Duke, which neither of us named. That's what he was named and came to us. He came into my job working as a veterinary technician. I'm a licensed registered veterinary technician in Maryland. This fella came in as a 2-year-old to be put to sleep because of his aggression issues. Just didn't feel like the family was probably not a good fit for Duke. Kind of saw some potential in him. Called Jeff. Hey, this dog is a gorgeous looking dog, but
no tail.
With no tail. He's a bully boxer mix. He's a reverse.
He's a bully straight up.
Yeah, he kind of is. But that's what the people believed that they purchased was a boxer, actually.
Brindle, he's beautiful.
He is gorgeous.
If he had a set of balls, I would parade him around proudly.
He had them
he
for
is
quite
a
a while. Yeah.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
He's a handsome dog. But anyway, initial thought was we had 4 or 5 dogs at the time. We had 5 because we had Booger, Bristol, Poacher.
Poacher was alive then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bo.
That's right. Duke stayed out in the garage for a while because we weren't sure how everyone's going to get along.
Yeah, and Bristol wasn't doing well. She had cancer at the time.
Yeah,
So anyway, brought Duke home. Thought was to maybe rehome him with someone. We're all suckers, and he ends up attaching himself to your heart because he is a lovable dog. He had some issues.
For those on YouTube, he's attached himself to my right hand especially a few times.
He was an issue. He actually bit a couple of neighbors, bit Jeff. A little bit of an e-collar certainly assisted him in knowing what was right from wrong.
Yeah.
But anyway.
A little electricity helps him.
Yep. But, to this day, he is a mooch. He has a bit of a record. Most recently, he added to that record, but he's a good dog. He's super protective, and we just have to know his limitations.
Are you the most recent one? Are you referring to the homeowner's liability claim we had to put in?
Yes.
Took it. Well, and the young gentleman plumber did admit it was his fault.
Yeah.
But
Duke was in a fenced yard.
Yeah, Duke did. Duke was in his element, and some nice flesh came into his zone.
Yeah, he was doing his thing. That's all right. I felt bad for him. I couldn't go mad at him because that's kind of there is a nice aspect to having a dog that is protective, especially when Jeff goes away. So that said, Duke, we love him to death. He causes us a lot of stress in our lives, but he's here to stay. Next
up, please.
We have the beautiful Rye dog, Pitboss Salty Black Rye. You're going to have to tell the story on that one, but how we came to acquire Rye.
Yes. So the story really goes, if you really rewind back a little bit. So we have back in the day, and you knew all the dogs, Karen. You didn't necessarily know them in their prime at all,
right?
And sadly, you put them all down, or I don't know, maybe happily too. It was, I don't know.
I got to meet them.
You did get to meet them. You got to know them.
No special dogs.
100%. So we had Coot, was the original female, black female. Then the next Diamond was a rescue, truthfully, from Richard Barnes. She was 3-legged. She really was going to be a pet for my mother. We refer to my mom as Gam. So if you hear us say Gam, it's not our Gam mother, not our grandmother, my mom, because all the grandkids refer to her as Gam. Was going to be her pet. Richard was headed. It was in late November, December. It was Richard's litter. He was headed to South Carolina dog train. Diamond walked around on 3 legs. Susquehanna, Black Diamond. Black Diamond is I believe it is a Winchester 88. A gun. That was her name is from a gun.
Okay.
That's what Diamond is. Black Diamond. Black
that.
Diamond. Yep. And she's black, obviously. But anyway, Richard, hey, you know of anybody wants a gun dog? On and on and on. And he wanted to sell her, and I didn't know of anybody, especially a 3-legged dog. And I was like, hey, man, my mom would love to have a dog, have a pet. Like if it's not too close to you, that she's here. He's like, you know what? He said, I'd love her, to have her. So actually, Karen, I brought Diamond to Hickory Vet that you managed at the time to get her basically just bathed because she'd been in a kennel. I wanted to get her cleaned up, get her all nice and shiny, and brought her home to Gam. Gam kept her, and I was guiding there. So it was a little break between the way that my seasons were. Gam had her, had her through my duck season, and miraculously, or fortunately, or whatever word you want to put to it, we had a 32-inch snow. Diamond 3-legged could run fast, but she ran 3-legged. She did not use her right rear leg. In that snowstorm, and I guess because of having to bound, because the snow was super deep and to catch up with Coot, I guess she started using her right leg again, rear leg. And as the snow melted, all of a sudden she's a 4-legged dog. And Alex Abraham trained with us, Scott Moody, and Richard. Richard, what'd you do to the dog? Because he had all kinds of tests. He had her X-rayed. He did he put a lot into her to see what was wrong with her. Right? She was a very well-bred dog. Her father was Gates, high-tech CEO Gates, who was a litter mate to Coot's father, Dr. Feelgood. So that's the other aspect of this. Coot and Diamond were cousins, right? Yeah, cousins. Anyway, all of a sudden, she's 4-legged. It's March, April. I went ahead and force-fetched her, and all of a sudden, I got a nice gun dog again. So I back in the day, ran Coot and Diamond at the same time. So Coot, Diamond. Then we picked up this little dog, Poacher, who's, soaking wet. She should be 55 pounds or so. She was just a little...
She makes me laugh.
She was a little... You would say inbred. We'll say...
No, you say line breeding.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'll say line breeding. You'll say she was inbred. But Frank McNeil... Excuse me, not Frank McNeil. Hank McNeil. I really do to slow down. Hank McNeil. Grab a bottle of Tylenol, flip it around, and look on the back, and it'll say... McNeil Pharmaceuticals. Hank McNeil. Poacher came. I did do some training with her. I hunted with her quite a bit. And I can vividly remember, on the Chesapeake Bay, Pat Pitt, we were still in the TDB, 17. I can't remember. Maybe it was the 21. Anyway, regardless, we're gunning sea ducks. The hunt's going on well. And like about the last 2 or 3 birds, poacher would not go into the water. And I was like, you're done. And I guess I was embarrassed at the time because, you know,
You were young and that kind of person.
Well, yeah, but I mean, she's a trained retriever. She's retrieving, and
Maybe she was cold.
Well, maybe she was, but anyway, she became my mother's pet, right? So the 55-pound poacher, blew up to about 85 pounds.
Yes, a stealthy food stealer. I've never seen a dog take a container of chicken salad and open it so quietly.
Out of her bag as she came in, and
I'll never forget
where's my
that.
chicken salad?
Behind the couch.
100%. And the Mad Crabber, Chris Shamlin, recently, as we talked, he reminded me about the day that old poacher dog came walking around Pintail Drive from the canal, from the back, and had a big old piece of monofilament hanging out of her mouth. And
Yep.
I immediately knew what I had done, and I kind of freaked out. We brought her over to you at VCA when you're vet tech in there, and she swallowed that big old circle up. So
Yep.
she survived
Yeah.
the surgery and
Yeah.
lived really long. And I will tell you this too: anybody has an older lab, if they have availability to do it, what should they do to them? Or I guess really older dog anyway.
No,
Come on.
Where do you want me to start?
What did when you took Poacher to
gosh.
VCA? What did she love and enjoy?
Food.
Okay, besides food, as a treatment,
Oh gosh, acupuncture.
There you go. Thank you.
Acupuncture. Yes, she really responded so well to that.
Tell everyone, what do you think about acupuncture for dogs?
Oh, I love it. I mean, I guess it's all the tool, the hands that, use the tools kind of thing. But Dr. Lisa Reynolds over at VCA in Berlin here in Worcester County did a really nice job with her, and she really, did well with that.
100%.
Especially, losing 20 pounds certainly helped.
And you've given her medicine that maybe wasn't being given to her.
Yeah, no, she was doing great. She was doing great. Poor
She
little
was.
poacher. She was a funny little thing.
She was. I miss her. I miss them all, but I do
Yeah.
miss her. And I can vividly remember as she was older and she would kind of stagger. We didn't, our yards in Ocean Ponds are very small. And back in the day, I had 5 black labs there, never had any issue. But, more and more people, all of a sudden, everything kind of becomes tight, which is one reason why we're here
Yeah.
in Whaleyville at
Better life
PBHQ.
for the dogs.
100% about the dogs.
Yeah,
Excuse me.
we had to put an easy lift harness on her. I remember.
We did,
Yeah.
but where I'm going to go with is, what did we put on her collar at night?
Oh my gosh, a flashing light. Yeah, because she would you couldn't see her. She would just go do her poacher stuff.
Yep, and we put a blinking light on her, and that light would be blinking on her
Yep.
collar, and
There she is.
You could find her very easily.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, no, I think about that. I truly do.
Oh my god, little pink flashing light. Yep.
Okay, so I think actually Booker was in, but really he would have been. Well, I guess we had Poacher. He's still number 4. He would still be number 4, right?
Okay.
In the timeline.
Yeah, 'cause
you don't know, but
Well, just the stories make
Yeah.
sense to me.
So the first time I bred Coot to Drive, Sally Grassi's from New Jersey's Drive, I wanted a female. I wanted to be able to train not a daughter but a granddaughter of Coots. That's truly what I wanted, and that's why I bred her. Well, unfortunately, out of 7 pups, she only had 2 females, and the one you guys did you had puppy strangle, so you did. Hickory took care of her.
Yeah.
And went to a local family, and they spayed her, so that she was gone.
Okay.
And then Jenny kept the other female, so the females were kind of out of the loop. And I was not going to keep a male. I'll say it one more time. I was not going to keep a male. And man, little old booger, he was always the one that just stayed with me. Like, he attached himself to me. When all the pups, we took him outside, like he hung out with me. He was always first. He always stayed with me. And I was like, damn, man, like I got to keep him. So we kept Booger. Booger was a super nice dog, super,
It was very sweet.
just best personality, a good-looking male, American male. Looked very much like Drive, his dad. Had some coot in him, but more looked like Drive. Had a big old set of balls too, right?
Yes, he did. He did not know how to use them.
He didn't. But the only reason I say he had a big old set of balls is at Hickory or VCA, what did they say? This dog's still intact?
You gonna neuter him?
Hell no.
No, he didn't know. He knew what he was, but he did not know what he was. He was very uncoordinated.
Matter of fact, Poacher humped him and growled. Remember that?
She did.
Yeah, she would wrap her front leg around his back leg, and she would hump him and growl when she was doing it.
Booger would stand there.
All right,
He was like the brother that grew up with 5 sisters kind of thing.
He was the only, and he's the only male except for Bo and Duke. He's the only male that I've been associated with. So yes, Booger. I'll swing back to Booger, and then I bred in a good way, because sometimes I can remember Alex Abraham just saying with the Mac Man, and I bred him again. I repeated the breeding again, right? Story for another time. Bred Coot to Drive again, and this time it was frozen. Drive had passed away, so I had frozen semen. Went to Dr. Silcox, helped us. Helped me. I was by myself.
Yep.
Helped us, me and Coot. But I went to. She was actually surgically implanted in, I think, Reading, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I know there's a vet
Yeah.
that does do AI, but I don't know the name.
Yeah, but it was surgically. It was like not just
surgical artificial insemination. Yeah.
Yeah.
You just poke a hole in the uterus and
Okay.
Jeff doesn't like that.
Well, no, I just meant it was to me AI is like a turkey baster.
No, artificial insemination.
Yeah, that's a turkey baster. No,
I mean, you could do it,
multiple ways.
vaginally, or you could do it.
Did you say vaginal?
Yes, I did.
Lee? Okay. Well, I'm telling you, with Coot, it was surgically because she had stitches.
Yes.
Okay. So, frozen, she had 10 pups. About 2 weeks into it, the smallest one of the litter, Hannah, Gam named her, Susquehanna. She did not make it, but everybody else did. We kept here's the story. There was a big female that looked nothing like the rest of them. She almost looked like a kitty cat. And my daughter Molly, is like, she was much younger then, very much in the mix with all what was going on. I said, Molly, I was like, this dog doesn't do anything. It just lays there. Everybody else is active. We didn't name her yet, but I said, this puppy, I was like, nobody's going to want this puppy because it doesn't do anything. So I said, I jokingly said, this is going to be your pup. But anyway, basically, long and short of it is Bristol was a female version of Booger. All she lacked was testicles because she was
huge.
the same size as him. I mean, they could have been twins, except his head was definitely wider. But she was right. If anything, she stood a little bit taller than he did.
I think she did.
Yeah. But I always say, man, Bristol was a female version of Booger, 100%. So that's the 5 labs that we had. I'm gonna go through how the order we put them down. I know what the order was. Diamond was first. Coot was second. I thought I knew the order. I will say Bristol was third. Sadly, she was the youngest at about 8 years old. Coot lived long. She was pushing 15 years old.
Yeah, she was.
Next was Poacher, which was 11 years old. She was up in age too.
Okay, I thought she was maybe a little older.
Older, maybe 13
12.
then. Okay. Regardless, she was grade. Still got around really good, but just was she was done. I gotta say that is the worst part of dog ownership is just having to put them down, especially like making that decision. And when we come to Booger's the last one, and I don't know. You've always told me, Karen, that you got to be fair to the animal. What's your feelings?
Yeah, it's a fine line, but truly the owner knows. I think when the right time is. I think some owners really just very challenged with making that final decision. But you just gotta kind of weigh it all up. And quality of life is really, to me, what it comes down to. If is the animal eating? Are they greeting you? Are they, do they seem to, do they have anything that they do in the day that is enjoyable to them? Going for walks, playing with a ball or a toy or something. And Booger was a tough one. Booger, that was really tough.
Well, that's what I'm going to say is I don't want to get a little choked up about it, but truthfully, hindsight, a couple of days earlier, I probably should have. And it was, Dr.
Secord.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Dr. Rebecca Secord.
Yeah, she offered earlier to do it, and I was like, no, I'm not. I'm just not. It was like Poacher. You had a schedule for Poacher, and I took her to McDonald's, and she freaking ate chicken nuggets. I'm like, I'm not taking her.
Yeah, we're not exactly sure, what brought her demise around, but it was probably some kind of nasty cancer. Yeah, just kind of.
But I did wait a day or two with Poacher.
Yeah, we hoped that she would snap out of it, but with some fluids and all.
And then Booger just stopped.
Stopped eating. He had stomach cancer. That was his issue. The stomach cancer is what he just could not eat. And we were down to feeding him shrimp, and we were happy if he was going to eat shrimp for days on end. We would have fed him shrimp for days on end, but he's even stopped eating that. He wouldn't eat anything. So
so Booger was the last. That would have been June when we put him down. And you said to me, "Do you want another lab?" And I was like, "Yeah, no." And you said, "Are you sure?" I was like, "Well, if we could find maybe something from out of Coot's bloodline." Again, back to the original part of breeding Coot, I did want a granddaughter. Was my goal to train a granddaughter from her. I do have to rewind and say, if I could, from my ego's standpoint, trained with help from people, but trained by myself. Coot was running senior and master, AKC senior and master hunter. And if she liked to honor, she would have been a master hunter before she was 2 years old. But at 26 months old, she was a master hunter. Had her qualified to go to the Master National that year. Had her qualified for the Master National the following year. And Coot was qualified all age in field trials. So she was a dog. And I just wanted a female, again, a granddaughter to train, because just for the timeline of, still, Coot gunned every day. At the end, when they got older, I did, kind of alternate days, depending on where we were going, what we were doing. But Coot and Diamond were, everybody was always with me, but who came out of the truck to action retrieve. So you did say, are you sure? I said, well, if you could find something from Coot. So you got on OFA. You did find some dogs, but everybody was older. And I was like, no, we were fishing offshore, inshore, offshore a little bit. And, we were always worried about getting back for the dogs, the timeline of the dogs. Like, nope, I'm good. So July, August, September rolls around. And I usually don't. Well, first off, I always talk on speaker with you, so you can hear. So, I don't have to repeat. I have nothing to hide, or I don't have to explain what just took place. Yeah. So there was I'm sitting out back, sitting at these chairs and table at Pintail, and I remember not taking a phone call because that's spam. And then the next one was Huntsville, Alabama. I said, this could be legit. So answered it. Jeff, this is Josh Butler from Huntsville, Alabama. You don't know me, but we know each other, kind of thing. And this is going to be really odd and weird, but I want to invite you to Texas to shoot teal.
I remember that.
And he's going on and on and on. And I'm sitting there man, I got a lot of stuff to do. And you're shaking you got your iPad out and you're looking for tickets.
Flights.
Yeah, flights. And you're shaking your head yes. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. And this is on a Tuesday. He's like, well, here's the weird thing is you have to fly on Thursday to get to El Campo, Texas. And I was like, oh man, I in my mind I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. And you were like, yeah.
Yeah, adventure. I love adventures.
So we hung up, and you were instantly like, you got to do this. Anyway, I did go to Texas, yes, but I remember even the next day before I hit purchase, I text you at work. I was like, are you sure? And you're like, yep, do it, buy them. So I did. Anyway, long story short, went to Texas, El Campo. Stayed at the hotel. You have to look up the hotel. Took me a second. Providence, Texas. I was going to say it's not new. I was going to say new. Look up Google the Hotel Provident, Texas. That is where we stayed. It was a great, great time. At the time, they were lifetime decoys, not heyday. Garrett Walker, Quack Rack. It was just a great time.
Garrett Walker,
Yes.
ladies.
You want to explain?
No.
Okay.
That's enough said.
Garrett, if you're listening, that's a compliment. But yeah, so the hotel's the duck camp. There's dogs running around camp. We're gunning over dogs. I was texting Karen. We talked while I was there, but as soon as I get back Sunday evening, or maybe early Monday morning, I can't remember which, in Houston to fly out, I got on the phone and I said, Karen, I want a dog. And you're like, okay, let's do this. So I'd been out of the game for quite a while, so I reached out to a very good friend of ours, Alex Abraham. And I was like, hey, Alex, not my world. I'm just out of touch. And Alex was still heavily running field trials, which he still does today. And I just said, hey, do you know any dogs out there? So he gave me a fellow's name in Connecticut that bred to his dogs. And one thing led to another. Reached out to Lisa Pavone. She directed us to Mike Barabee in Maine, and that's kind of the story of how we got Rye. So that is a long story to how is Rye in our life.
Pitboss Salty Black Rye.
Yes.
Yep, we went up there. We were going to, heading up to PEI, Prince Edward Island in Canada, to do, Jeff was doing a...
I was hosting
Drake's
Migration
There
Nation.
you go. Yep, so we were heading that way. Mike was kind of on the way.
It was.
Bangor, kind of like north... Was it? No.
I thought it was southeast, but it's
southeast.
You're
right. Yep.
No, southwest.
Southwest.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
West of
Yes.
95 and south. Yep.
And kind of on the way. So we were able to go there. We did not know, which pups were available. It was, they all had different collars on, different colors.
Collars.
Of collars.
Yep.
Yes. And how
Cours,
many were
ours,
there?
love, ours. Say that, please.
No. How many pups were there in that litter? It was a lot.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it was 10, but I think there was like 7 females. And I told Mike I really wanted to get a...
high energy.
High energy. He said they all were high energy. I was like, okay. Well, I said then maybe like more someone that's a little, alpha-esque.
Yeah. Yep. So he, from that picked out 3, I think, initially, but we kind of dwindled it down to 2. It was a green collar and a purple collar.
Yes.
Jeff just happened to be wearing a purple shirt that day.
But which collar did Jeff like?
It was a chunky thing. It
reminded me of Bristol.
His coat was not very nice.
It reminded me of Bristol.
I know. So even to this day, Jeff says, I wonder how that green collar puppy is.
I really wonder what she looks like.
So if anyone got the green collared puppy from, what was it?
Long Pond, Mike Barabee.
Well, her birth date is
this would have been
August 25th
of 2019.
Yes.
2019, August, 5th.
No, 18, actually.
18?
18, yeah. She's 5 this year, believe it or not. But, The
timing was great because, my mind. I wanted to say names. I can't remember the names at this moment.
Oh.
Arkansas, cameramans.
David.
And Daniel. David and Daniel. Sorry,
Thank
guys.
you.
Yeah, maybe.
Yep.
Yeah.
David and Daniel. Actually, at least David did, rocked
Yes.
up and was able to video some of us
choosing
the puppy.
Yep, picking them out.
And
it was just happened to be right on the way to going to PEI.
Yep.
And, that we spent the night in Bangor, and then the next day we're in PEI, and that was just...
Yeah, we had Duke and my little Shih Tzu Bo at the time. And, we're super worried about Duke.
Oh, there we go. Speaking of Duke.
Speaking of Mr. Protective. Super worried about how Duke would be with the puppy. But made it up there.
Touched her over a bone, maybe a crumb of a bone at Shaw's, but other than that, man, it was pretty...
Yeah, he raised her.
He did. They bonded very well. And that was your... Because I want to talk about PEI later on here, but that was your first time to PEI. It was my second trip up, but that was your first time.
Yes. Yep. Just in love. Love.
And after that, what has it turned into?
The annual.
Your vacation.
Oh, well, our vacation, just great time with friends.
It is 100%. Prince Edward Island, Canada. I've always said it's the furthest east that you can drive in Canada, but I think technically maybe like Cape Breton, Nova Scotia is probably maybe a tad bit further east.
Yeah.
Anyway, I still say it. It's furthest east you can drive. So that is rye. That's how we got rye.
That's how we got rye.
And rye is a AKC titled.
Oh, yes, a junior hunter. She
There you
has a
go.
junior hunter title. So Jeff introduced me, trained me along with Rye, to be able to run the tests. And my nerves, I tell you, I was a wreck on the third test, but we managed to fumble through it. And she definitely has the drive. She, wants to retrieve. She loves it. She, if anything, she's on the other side of being able to, behave, I guess.
She runs better for you than me.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, we have a little connection going on. But she's my pretty girl, and
She's a pretty black dog.
she really is. And hopefully we get to breed her in the next year.
We would have part of the story of the next dog that's here. That kind of comes into play too, where we did want to breed rye this year,
Yep.
and just being at two addresses, we're back and forth between two addresses. It just didn't seem to be the right thing, or she came in heat a lot earlier than she did last year. So
Yep. So that story will continue.
so now I have to. I always like to tell people, you didn't want to run her the first time, so I ran her the first junior. The second junior was a double, so I ran her at the first one. You ran her the second one, did a great job. You titled her on the fourth one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, she's a junior hunter, and you're like, what can we run next week? Like, you can't run anything.
So much fun.
Because she was the project of basically, in my opinion, I don't mean to offend anybody, but my opinion is junior hunter is basically is the dog force fetched. Because if it's a lab, if it's any type of retriever, I almost say lab, if it's any kind of retriever, it can retrieve. Will it deliver to hand? And that's basically the AKC junior hunter requirement that is the toughest, I think, is in dogs. The things that I've judged and watched people with dogs and watched young dogs is the whole force fetch thing. And that to me is junior hunter is your dog force fetched. Yeah, basically. So we did that, and then she's a little bit of an older junior hunter. We had COVID in there, kind of mixed things up that we didn't. And I started running, doing back to the pile with her to run a blind, but I never finished it. And then that's when you said, well, like, what can I do next? I was like, she can't run a blind, so you can't do anything.
So
with
get
her.
on that, Jeffrey.
And I did.
Teach her.
And I did. I'm gonna. Because of the third dog that is here with us.
Yes. So, not breeding rye. We get these emails from, what is it called? The Retriever News. So, looking at the emails, a litter popped up, and it happened to be from the Rye's breeder, Mike Berube.
I'm going to correct you.
Well, that's my side of the story. Go ahead.
No, the first part of this story is there was a pup from South Carolina whose father was Dr. Feelgood. Gates.
Oh, right.
Diamond's father. And I'm like, Karen, like this is Gates. This is a Gates puppy. Can I?
Yeah.
And you're like, okay.
There was one left in litter. I'm like, that's like the bottom of the barrel.
Okay, well, I text, and she said the puppy's gone.
Yeah.
So now, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so
You were on,
like I was saying.
You were on Facebook.
Yeah, well, no, I got the email.
Oh, you
and
did
that's
get
what,
it?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know. I thought you just found him on Facebook.
No, I got the email, and I looked at it.
Fred West was here as you text me this.
Yep, but Mike Berube. But yes, it was on Facebook as well. Absolutely. Had a litter, and I was like, I just sent it to Jeff.
And you know what? I opened it up as Fred's here. We're working on decoys. You know what I said? Karen knew enough to look at the pedigree. Look at Dr. Field. Or I keep saying Dr. Fieldgood. Gates is in her pedigree, and all of a sudden, Alex Abraham's name's in the pedigree.
Yep.
Newt Cropper's name's in the pedigree.
All local people.
Yeah, and the male is like Scrapper, like on the male side, the sire's side of Scoter's. I said her name. I'm sorry. Of the little black dogs, pedigree is like it is stacked, and not that the female side isn't nice, but the sire side, I should say the bitch side, the sire side is very nice, and as well as the bitch side. But go ahead. So
really, you take it from here because I sent it to you. Not not trying to tell Jeff, let's get another dog.
Karen, can I please get a puppy?
Yeah, no, it was not that. But,
No, I'm saying, Karen, can I please get this puppy?
Well, yes, because of the heritage, right?
Yeah.
Yep, the bloodline.
Yep.
So, yeah, me, when am I ever going to say no to another dog? It's not going to happen.
Wait a minute. Time out. Oh, I thought it was going to be green.
Oh, Fred.
I thought it was going to be green.
Fred West. Uh-oh.
It's a big old Ford. An 8-wheeler. Oh, Duke's chasing him. Duke loves tires. Look at Duke. Duke is being...
Yeah, Duke chasing cars down the fence line cost us, I don't know, what, $400 or $500?
Yeah,
he ran into the fence and hurt his eyeball.
The first time he didn't realize the fence was there and whacked it.
Yep.
So I said, Karen, can we get this dog? And you said yes.
Oh,
100%.
that's a given.
Right. So I text Mike. We start texting back and forth. And the way it was written, there was one female left.
Yes.
I was like, like you just said, is the bottom of the
barrel,
litter, right?
Yeah.
The bottom of the barrel. I said bottom litter, but you're correct. The bottom of the barrel. And he's like, nah, man, it's like just spots. Like, he's like, what kind of a dog do you want? I was like,
high energy.
I want a high energy dog. He's like, well, again, they're all high energy dogs.
Energy.
Yeah. And I said, well, then an alpha. And he wanted to keep a female. He's like, I may keep like what he thinks is the alpha. He said, but you're going to get a nice dog. Mm-hmm. So Jean, she has a brother from of the first litter. This was a repeat breeding of the first litter, and she happened to be going to Massachusetts. Although Mike lives in Maine, he winters in Georgia. So basically, at 8 weeks old, Scoter got dropped off to us. So,
yep.
She's an awesome little animal.
Jeff is goo over this dog
because she's nice.
She has a wonderful personality. I lovingly call her Hellion, because if you're not watching her every 2 seconds, she is into something. And like Jeff says, retrievers are going to retrieve.
They are. She retrieves everything.
She retrieves things that you don't want her to retrieve out of the laundry basket. She's some work.
You made me hold her today, about an hour ago. And what did you do?
Well, she lived in her baby teeth. I wanted to keep one.
So you have one now.
It was just dangling. It was dangling.
So that is our dog history?
To date.
Yeah, to date. I'm really hoping, I don't want to force her, but I've been jokingly, no, not jokingly because I mean it.
Yep.
Yeah. She's on the fast track, or she will be on the fast track that I want by October for her to be a junior hunter, so that next spring we can just hit it hard and see what else, move on to running blinds. If she could run senior master at the same time, that's great. You don't have to run senior to be a master, but if you have a senior title, you need one less pass. So there's four passes to be a junior hunter in AKC, 4 passes if you have a junior title, 4 passes to be a senior hunter in AKC, and if you don't have a senior hunter, it takes you 6 passes in master. But if you do have senior hunter, it only takes 5. So that's one of the reasons why I ran Coot when she was young in both at the same time. Just saved me, in theory, should have saved me a test, or at least a master test.
I say stretch it out. It's so much fun. I love going to those things.
You do. You do.
It's just the dogs. I love to watch the dogs.
Well, we're going to have Rye for you to handle. Why do I say that to that dog?
Rye?
No, I was referring to Scoter.
Well, I thought you were going to,
No.
hopefully we'll have Rye doing back to the pile so we can run a senior.
You can, but I think that the way it's going to shake out is one of the last juniors for Scoter. I'm not going to get there, right? So you're going to have to do it on your own. That's what I meant. I'm sorry. Yeah,
we'll have to have a meeting of the minds between now and then.
Yeah, it's all good. Love the Pitboss podcast, brought to you by Molly's Place Sporting Goods. I'm going to repeat myself and say this will happen every Monday for at least the next 52 weeks, and hopefully we can throw an extra one in here and there. Mm-hmm. And you're going to be, I want to call you the co-host. We host it together.
You're the man, love. I'm just here for you to talk to someone other than yourself.
I do want to, and we're not going to do it today, but I do really, as I look up and look around, I do want to dive deeply into, truthfully, more of like the thought process of what we're doing here. How the design of it and how it's, I'm gonna say it's spun out of control, because it hasn't. It's in control to a degree,
Yeah.
but like how it's become much larger.
And it has. Thank you very much, Chicky.
Yeah, that's a story for another time.
Was this first podcast supposed to be all about dogs? How did that happen?
The first one?
Yeah, today's this one.
No, what do you want?
No, it just
Give me
it's
some.
just one of our tangents. Like we were going to cover some other stuff, but here we are an hour into it.
How about this? Coors with the R. Mm-hmm. You're from where?
Australia.
Yep, New South Wales.
Well, right on the border. Yep, New South Wales, Kingscliff.
And often people have trouble understanding you.
Occasionally, people aren't prepared. I think it's more the issue. I've been asked if I'm from New York, South Africa, London, Britain.
I could see the South Africa possibly.
Yeah.
But being with you, I know enough. It's not.
No, or New Zealand.
Yeah, not. I think I can. The old Salisbury story of professor calls me up and he's talking to me, and I got into it a little bit with him. Not when I got into it, I don't.
What are you talking about, Salisbury professor?
It was with some duck studies he wanted to do.
Yes.
And eventually
samples.
I said, eventually I said, are you from the North Island or South Island? He's like, how did you know? I was like, I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
He said, everybody thinks I'm from Australia.
Been there a few times, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a Kiwi.
Yeah, Kiwi. 100%. What lead me?
Well,
Direct me.
what time are we at?
We have plenty of time, love.
What time are we at?
56 minutes.
Good Lord.
I'd talk for 2 hours.
I know you could. No, I was wondering, we talked about the dog, so you wanted to kind of do a little bit of here and now, like how we ended up here, right?
I do. But I really want to...
It's going to be in depth.
Yeah, because I'm gonna go off on a tangent, but like basically the original concept was a rectangle that was a certain size, and it just kind of excuse me, a certain size, and then from there, again, it's not out of control, but it definitely kind of like kept. How about this? It kept evolving, right?
Yes, it did.
Yeah, it kept evolving,
Yes,
and you know what I tell everybody these days? We just try not to run out of money here. That's all I'm trying to do. Just try not to run out of money. As I look up at the ceiling that has no metal.
That's okay. That's
Yeah.
right. Priorities, right?
100%. July 1st, I definitely forget about all this. I need to kick in the carving. 100%.
Yes, you do. We got it on the calendar. I'll make sure you get into it. But in the meantime, we have this weekend, we've got the fishing seminar at Molly's.
We do. Thank you very much, because you said you want to. I'm going to flip through a few pages, because I have tried to take notes and try to be a little more organized than what I have been in the past. And we are going to do, and you know what? Next time I need to have it be a
Tabs?
Little, yes, that's what I need.
On your notebook.
Yeah. I can't find it.
Uh-oh.
Oh, wait a minute. It's
Loose
because
leaf.
there's still another section. There we go. So we have each month, and it's an events calendar, right?
Yes.
So the only thing that I have for June, and it happens to be Molly's related, is on June 4th and June 25th. Well, June 4th is already passed, but June 25th is fishing seminar. Snakeheads on June 4th at Molly's, and then Fishing Basics 101 on the 25th. But then in July, we have down, in no particular order. Okay, so I have not organized these date-wise, but on the 16th of July is Molly's Rockfish. We call them Rockfish here on Chesapeake Bay, but striped bass. Everybody might know them better as striped bass.
Yum.
Migratory fish. Rockfish fishing seminar. Then that's 16th, and 21, 22, 23 is the World Deer Expo in Birmingham, Alabama. Our very good friend Kevin Smith, Smitty's Beard Sauce is going to be there. And then basically 28, 29, 30 on both two different events. Delta Waterfowl, Little Rock, Arkansas, 28, 29, 30. The Dive Bomb Squad Fest at St. Petersburg, Missouri is on 28, 29. And then on the 30th, back at Molly's, is Fishing Basics 101, a fishing seminar. So that's June and July. And if you know of anybody knows of anything they would like us to, talk about,
Any events, upcoming events?
we can add it to the event calendar. Please let us know. Do so. Whatever I'm trying to say. August 4, 5, and 6, 13. There's a bunch of stuff in August. And in October, November, it kind of thins out again a little bit, but
Yeah, because that's a good time of the
'cause it
year.
kicks back in. We love, which I have to say, late August. No, late September. The sky almost looks like today. Actually, a little bit bluer when there's no humidity, and then definitely
Pretty.
through October. That is hands down my favorite time of the year.
Yeah, what's with this? We were just talking about the haze that's down here.
Yeah. So
today.
the other day, driving from Pintail to Peerless, I guess you were here.
Yes.
Did I call you or text you?
I think you called me.
I said, Karen. I said, looks like,
like
I'm coming past the
fire.
golf course. I just looked like there was a fire.
Yeah.
It was just really weird looking. We've had these northeast winds for like the past 10 days, pushing 2 weeks. And Nick's Cedar Swamp Gunning Decoys texted me today a picture of the shop in Dover where basically like he sees smoke.
Yeah.
He's like, hey man, he sent me the picture. Like, have you heard these fires in Nova Scotia? So Googled it real quick. Geoff, PEI told us about it, but I Googled real quick and I found this, NOAA chart where like it shows where like the smoke basically is blowing from
It's kind of a wind stream, right?
yeah, kind of from New Brunswick, Nova Scotia. Well, actually through New Brunswick, Maine, and then on down the coast, and actually shows our area has some effects from the smoke.
Yeah.
And but today I don't know. Looks
It's cleared out.
yeah, it has
for
nice.
sure.
Yeah, the humidity's left nice, and I think tonight, if it does stay clear, the moon was bright last night. I think it's going to be pretty bright tonight. So
Nice. Definitely nice to get away from. We're not in Ocean City. We were in Berlin, Ocean Pines, but it was pretty congested. There was plenty of lights and all, but over here, yeah, it's kind of special for us.
I guess I'll miss the bufflehead at the Pitboss
Yes.
Refuge. That's probably about the only. Truthfully, many things. Yeah, it's cool living on the water and stuff. I'll miss seeing the bufflehead and
Bufflehead, because it was a Pitboss Refuge that we would throw corn out.
100%.
Right?
Yep. Corn, cracked corn, threw it right in the canal. Water's about 3 to 4 feet deep,
Yeah.
depending on the tide. And and I liked the bufflehead were given, but it was more of what's the oddity that's going to show up. So
Yes,
we always
that
had.
was fun.
We've always had. Remember the golden eye? I thought he was
Yes.
a bufflehead for two seasons.
Two
right?
seasons.
Yep.
That was crazy.
Yep, he showed up. The golden eye showed up with him. Basically, it was a juvenile, just a dirty bird. And by late March, April, you could see like Karen, that's a drake.
Yep.
And the next year, maybe it wasn't the same bird, but I got to believe it
Yeah.
was. Here's a really nice drake golden eye shows up with the bufflehead.
Yep. And he threw his head back. Like that was his distinguishing feat.
Especially in the spring that year, like he's
Yes.
trying to woo these 10
Girls,
bufflehead,
yes.
running around with them. And
That
I guess
was
he
crazy.
either got shot coming, either figured out he wasn't a bufflehead then, or the following year on the journey down.
We don't want to think about that.
No. He was a good-looking bird. He would have been.
was.
Yeah, he would have been a 3-year-old. He was
Prize
he was
catch for
2
someone.
2 years old. He was a nice-looking drake. But yeah, some of the years the Pitboss Refuge was much better. We just haven't had winter, but when it was cold,
Oh gosh,
man,
this last year was crazy.
there was one March. I believe it was possibly before you. So it's been a while. That like 30, mostly drakes, redhead showed up there, like mysteriously. Like one morning I went down, opened the curtains up, like, oh my goodness, man, look, we're so halfway close to the water that they would kind of, they would bug out a little bit. They would definitely knew that we were there.
Yeah.
The geese and the mallard in the yard and the corn, they didn't really
Not a
care
big
as
deal.
much, but definitely in the water they were 100% wild. That was probably one of my coolest experiences. We had some scoter there, had a henwood duck that hung out for a while.
Yeah. We've had bluebill.
Yep.
We had We had a canvasbectomy or just redhead.
Canvasback. The red-breasted mergansers rolled through
Yes,
quite a bit.
Yeah, that was cool. And those big old loons.
Yeah, the
Those
loons.
really big
Yeah,
loons.
there's a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
But the year that was the best, and I was probably the most embarrassed, was when it was icy and it snowed, and I would just throw the corn out. There was like 150 ducks out back, and you'd have to see where we're at, but the canal is kind of narrow, and like I came home and like somebody spooked the ducks, and there's 150 ducks that are like flying over a house that like we have an eighth 1/8 of an acre lot. That's how big they are. So there's a lot of houses in a little area. I was actually kind of embarrassed. Like, oh my goodness, this is. It was after the season, like, but still, like, it was a little embarrassing. Like, holy moly, everybody's got to know that because I'm throwing the corn out there on the ice and snow, that these things are hanging out.
Oh, gosh, since then, I think some of our neighbors have adopted the practice because they cheat on us. They don't always just come to us. They do go to other houses.
And then we get mad at the buffalo head. And then Karen says, shoot them all.
No, I do not.
Come on.
Throw more corn out.
You're a killer. You are a stone cold killer.
Hell no.
You are.
With?
You shot your first black duck. Rob retrieved it.
Yeah, it was with Chip. Just in PEI once a year.
Yeah. I think
I got frustrated last year, though. I was horrible.
It is a little challenging.
I sucked. I literally sucked. I couldn't shoot a bird to save myself.
Love, we're done.
We are?
The revamped. I can't call it episode number 1 because it's pushing episode 70 if you really file through back. But yeah, episode 1 of the revamped Pitboss podcast, brought to you by our good friends at Molly's Place Sporting Goods, mymollys.com, MYMOLLYS.com. And Molly's is easily found on Route 213 in Kennedyville, Maryland, on the famed Upper Eastern Shore of Maryland. So that, we want to thank Dirty Duck Coffee. We want to thank Duck Blind Bistro. We want to thank Duckwater Boats. And last but not least, help me, love, please. What am I trying to say?
Last but not least.
There. Thank you. Last but not leastly. Lately, I've been doing that with words.
Oh, man.
I did that Molly's Place ad, and I think
Father's Day.
Well, I think I was already ahead of myself where I thought an S should be on days, so I was like Father's Days. Like it took me. You listened to it.
How old are you?
Too old. Too old. And last but not least, our good friends at Crabs to Go.
Yes. Man. Now you got me thinking about single fry.
And you know what I've been thinking about too?
What?
On Instagram, out of New Jersey, I've been seeing somebody catching big 10 to 15 count scallops.
Oh, the scallops.
Yep.
You made me, before you said that, my head went into tuna.
Oh, tuna, yeah.
Some lightly seared tuna. Yum.
We got to find somebody to get some fresh tuna.
Crabs to go.
Yeah, crabs to go. That's what we got to do. The sushi grade, I think last time we got it was like 24 a pound, I think.
I don't know, but it was really good.
And we made our own sushi.
We made our own sushi.
We had to do that.
That was fun.
That was fun.
Yeah, we went to Amazon, got all the necessary equipment to roll them up. Really, you don't need it, but just saying. It was good. Is
this one of not our issues, but my issues where like I'm saying I definitely ramble. I was about to end, and like now we're talking about
making sushi.
Yeah,
all
tuna
right.
and sushi and all that kind of stuff. Molly's Place Sporting Goods, Dirty Duck Coffee, Duck Blind Bistro, Duckwater Boats, Crabs to Go, in no particular order. Guys, thank you very much for sponsoring the Pit Boss podcast, brought to you by, once again, Molly's Place Sporting Goods. We appreciate you. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you very much. And or any of the newly, a bunch of them I've been on forever, but Amazon, the podcast platforms. So, love. Until next episode, thank you very much. I love you.
Love you too.
Boom.
Cheers.
Cheers to you, as always. Thinking of you, we are.
Cheers.